Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the most recent issue of the GARMADON solo comic, which just came out today, just a few hours ago. This, of course, is going to be issue number 5, which unfortunately also happens to be the final issue of this comic, at least for right now. Maybe the series will continue into the future, fingers crossed for sure, because this series was a lot of fun, and issue 5 was a great conclusion. My goal for today's video is to simply just give my opinions on issue number 5. I've already reviewed every single issue so far for this GARMADON comic, and this is the final one. If you guys have not yet read this comic, I would totally recommend doing so. These comics are canon, or at least they used to be canon. Not sure where these comics stand anymore following Ninjago crystallized, but I will definitely be making a video talking about that later on. But as of right now, issue 5 here sees the conclusion of the series as GARMADON and his allies, even former enemies, try to take on Mogra's army in a quest to take the village back. Firstly, like the other couple of issues of this comic, very good characterization and very good art. The artwork in this comic is beautiful, breathtaking, and glorious to look at, and even though you're looking at still images, you still feel like you're a part of the action. You still feel like you're in this world, which I think is a fantastic achievement that's been consistent throughout every issue of this comic. Also, like I said, GARMADON's characterization is top-notch here. We finally see the conclusion of his development. He finally discovers what he desires, who he is, and he unlocks a new form. It's kind of a combination of all of his previous forms merged together into one long-haired, grizzled Oni form. Not really sure what this form is, but I actually really like it. It looks amazing. And using this new form, he overthrows Mogra in a pretty sweet action sequence that, in my opinion, is a great conclusion. He unlocks a new level of power that we haven't seen just yet, and once again, his new Oni form, so to speak, is really fun. I also really enjoy the ending. After saving the village, GARMADON just continues on his merry way, continues on to another adventure, and I think that's awesome for GARMADON's character, showing now that he's willing to move forward in his life, unlike in previous issues where he was fine settling. This chapter of GARMADON's life is over, and the future awaits him eagerly. I also enjoyed seeing the return of many characters that we've come to know and love throughout the comic series so far. Many of the villagers come into play here. We also see characters like the Sons of GARMADON, who are now of course under the command of Mogra as a part of his Red Crow's army. But you also see previous villains that GARMADON faced in the past coming back to become allies with GARMADON to overthrow a common enemy, which I think is an awesome way to bring all of these characters full circle and again have them merge together as one unit. The writing is also fantastic. Again, good characterization all around, great dialogue, and like I said, that's been consistent throughout several issues of this comic. In fact, every issue is fantastic in terms of how it's written, drawn, and just presented to the audience. I also love the themes that are presented in this issue as well, those of course being the themes of redemption. There is indeed a quote from this issue that kind of summarizes GARMADON's character, the quote being, "Even though you're bad, that doesn't mean you're necessarily evil," which I think is very powerful, especially when applied to the GARMADON character. And again, GARMADON does indeed achieve that level of redemption that he worked so hard for throughout this entire run. And as I mentioned earlier, he moves on with his life, moving forward to a new chapter, a new goal, a new future, which I think will only do wonders for his character. Overall, guys, the GARMADON comic has been awesome this entire time, and issue 5 right here is a fantastic conclusion to this story. Really heartfelt themes and messages, along with awesome writing and amazing drawings and visuals. This comic series is so much fun, and issue number 5 is just so great. Just like many of the other issues that came before, this issue was absolutely fantastic. Would totally recommend if you guys have not read it just yet. I think it's an awesome way to conclude the GARMADON story and this specific narrative, and I'm curious to see what comes of this comic in the future. I would love to see more issues of this comic. If they could do that, that would be awesome, but I'm also curious to see how this ties into Ninjago Crystallized, if at all. Obviously, with Crystallized being out and done with, a lot of what we see in the show doesn't really tie into what the comics tell us. The two stories are very inconsistent here. That's not the fault of the comic though. In fact, I'm not really sure whose fault that is, but I do plan on making another video in the near future talking about whether or not this comic is canon and where it might fit into the overall timeline. But until then, I think this comic was a fantastic run. Feel free to check out every single issue if you so desire. I buy my copies digitally from Amazon, so feel free to check them out there if you want. Otherwise, I know that physical copies are always kind of floating around, whether they be online or in physical comic shops, so check out those sources as well. Either way, the series is out there. Check it out if you so desire. I would totally recommend reading it if you're a fan of GARMADON, because the series does wonders to GARMADON's character and makes him more human than ever before. It's no secret that I loved this series, but feel free to leave a comment down below discussing what you think about this GARMADON comic. Do you like it? Do you not like it? And what did you think about issue 5 as well? Leave our thoughts down below, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and that'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again really soon. Peace.